I'm not entirely sure why, but at the beginning of September, I decided to play Shin Megami Tensei Devil Summoner Raidou Kuzunoa versus the Soulless Army, or Raidou 1 as I'll be calling it from now on. I didn't finish it at first because a few other releases were coming out for me, notably Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster, and I still hadn't decided entirely how I was going to play it. I had the choice of either emulating it via PCSX2 or playing the PS2 Classics version on the PS3, and after I discovered that both Raidou 1 and 2 on that system run at half the intended frame rate, I just said fuck it and emulated it via PCSX2. Mainly modifications to the game itself were a HD texture pack and a widescreen fix, so the game didn't look stretched. But even then emulating, I had a couple of issues, like for some reason in hardware mode, the background graphics of the sky will overlay on top of everything else, meaning you just see big chunks of white whenever you go in certain areas. It's nothing major, but still pretty annoying. Now you're probably going, well, why don't you just play it on original hardware when it happened? And one, I'm not paying that much for a 16-year-old game because I'm not a financially responsible idiot. And two, it would look like actual garbage on my flat screen TV at 480i using an AV to HDMI converter on a PS2. And I don't have a CRT because it's 124. It took me about 4 days to beat Raidou 1 and I thoroughly enjoyed it. The story was pretty simple but interesting. It really gave into that noir detective feel I love so much from movies like The Maltese Falcon, with a bit of the Kaneko and SMT style thrown in for good measure. I'm not going to say much about the story just to spoil the sake, but it's pretty fun, doesn't take itself too seriously. I think this was the second action game made by Atlas, but the first one was Jack Bros on the Virtual Boy, which isn't even a real console, so who cares about that. In terms of combat for Raidou 1 though, it's pretty basic, and probably the weakest aspect of the game by far. Just to start, random encounters are absolutely insane to the point I was popping Repulse Water to lower them, like I was popping Vicodin, and you can get into a random encounter wherever you're on the map, be it in the regular world or the dark versions. Attacking is very, very basic and gets repetitive fast. Basically, Raidou can summon exactly one demon with him, as he has no magic of his own, and he only has a few sword tricks and whatever ammo you load his gun with. He's kind of useless if a demon resists physical attacks, so you just kind of wait for the horrible AI of your demon to finally take them out, which for some reason, like, they seem to be very slow, I don't know why. This is even more of an issue when you get to certain progression walls in the game that need a demon with a specific skill. I can't say specific if you can't guess. As the enemy will just nullify everything but that, even if Raidou has bullets to that gun that just link to that weakness, like for example fire, you still need a demon with Agi, or any kind of fire skill in general. There's also times you'll need to send your demon out to specific tasks, like getting Jack Frost to freeze a river so you can cross over, and the game does seem to have thought ahead for that, as enemies you'll encounter will often possess the skill you need, and it's just a case of capturing them. But overall it gets pretty annoying, especially in the late game, and I use emulator speed up on the final boss because the combat was just that mind-numbing by that point. There's not much to it. This game's OST is fantastic, it's got a very jazzy feel to it to reflect the job you're doing in the time period of the 1920s. I love the main theme, the battle theme in particular. Graphically, this game does seem to hold up very well, or at least in my eyes, because of the art style. It was clearly a low-budget title for Atlas, evident by the lack of voice acting and the 2D backgrounds, but honestly, it still looks good. In particular, the lack of voice acting made me get creative, like Narumi, who is Raidou's boss and is the owner of the detective agency you work for, in my head kind of sounded like Humphrey Bogart. You know, a very wisecracking, gumshoe kind of feel.
This won't do any good. You'll never understand me, but I'll try once and then give it up.
Overall, I really recommend people try this game if they love SMT, even if the combat is a bit of a slog, because the characters and the vibe are both really, really good. I sort of recommend holding off, as there was a leak from Steam regarding achievements for a potential Raidou duology, which in my opinion would probably surface in early 2025 as like a shadow drop or something, but yeah, that's it for Raidou 1.